So, yeah, you know how I said I didn't think we were going to be in the path of the center of the hurricane? Well... Well, welcome to the eye of the storm. The rain's calm. There's no wind whatsoever. This is the center of the hurricane. The backside is going to come back full ferocity. But while we have a minute, this is what used to be my front yard, which is now lakeside property. So that used to be our palm tree. It's the one beside the house. It's completely ravaged. You can see the neighbors' palm trees are completely tilted. Go across the street, they're completely tilted. And this used to be our big tree, and we had to cut back, thankfully, or it would have dropped a ton of branches on the roof. It lost all of its branches. That's where it is now. Some of it on the neighbor's house. Just doesn't end. You can see just does not end here. You can see the neighbors across the street lost their fence. So backyard patio, our neighbor's fence, they just put that up a few months ago. Completely gone. Completely devastated. You can see how much water's flooding up around the yards around me. We got so lucky. The backside of the hurricane doesn't have any rain associated with it, nothing heavy. So this is about as far as the water's going to encroach. We came really close to getting flooded here. So yeah, my area took a direct hit from Hurricane Irma, and we just got power back yesterday afternoon, so we went about 6 days without electricity. That's a new record, and not a pleasant experience. Now, thankfully, since the last time this happened, we were prepared. We had a generator, we had a pair of little air conditioners hooked up and literally boarded into the patio door in the most redneck of setups you could build. But hey, it worked. It kept us from dying of heat stroke, and you know, we were properly prepared. Everything went well, and for the most part, we were just bored. That was the big enemy of riding out the hurricane in the aftermath. I spent my time, I had a stack of model kits that I have been putting off, which is now significantly smaller. So a mini Pla Dragon Zord and a figurized Kamen Rider skull got built, nearly dipped into one of the Gundams I've been holding off on. Beyond that, you know, I've had things, like I lined up things. I had a Glyos custom that I'm still in the middle of painting of. The power came back on before I could actually finish it. I've got resin cast, like I've had projects. I had things to do offline. So that was pretty much the worst of it. Everything else was okay, and thankfully everything's okay. Everyone in the family's okay. My grandmother's okay. She barely noticed. If you told her there was no hurricane, she wouldn't have even realized it. But yeah, the house is fine. The roof is intact. The floor is dry. At worst, our pool cage got damaged, and that's about all that really is the result. That, aside from the foliage in the front yard, palm trees held up. Palm trees were well. Neighbors, not so lucky. Most palm trees around us are currently either on the ground or at a 45-degree angle. So we've got a lot of brush that everyone has to... Everyone has brush. Everyone has branches and tree limbs and palm fronds and all manner of planthood that did not survive this hurricane. That was the bulk of the damage around the town. I went around first by car and then later by bike just so I can get a look at just how much damage was done to my town, and it's shocking and it's really disheartening. You know, because a lot of that stuff has been here since before I moved to this town, and that was a long time ago. So to see some of it just utterly destroyed is just really heartbreaking. You know, it is upsetting. Now, luckily, everyone I know is fine. All our neighbors made it through well and good. I do feel bad. Down the street is a flood zone, and a lot of those places were either swallowed up by the rainwater or are currently under the river, which overflowed its banks so badly. There's some places that are 3 feet underwater right now, and it'll be over a week before those places dry out. And I feel terrible for them. You know, I don't know anyone in those neighborhoods. I have friends who do, which is really upsetting. So I hope they're doing okay. I hope everyone's all right, and I hope those homes aren't permanently damaged in any way. You know, if the flood water saturates the wood too much for too long, it can wreck a home. You know, those can be unlivable if it goes on too long. So I'm just praying everything stays dry, no more rain or anything like that. So now I can say, like, well, I've survived a major hurricane. It's not the first one. It was the first direct hit. I've survived the eye of a hurricane for the first time. We actually went out and stood in the eye of the hurricane, which is kind of fascinating because 10 minutes earlier, it's 130-mile-per-hour winds. Not gusts, constant 130-mile-per-hour winds. And then 10 minutes later, it's still. It's completely quiet. If the hurricane was better formed, if we were closer to the south, well, we'd probably have taken more damage. But we would have also actually seen the clear sky in the center of the hurricane. A very well-formed hurricane. The eye is completely calm, and you can literally see a ring of clouds overhead. The fascinating part of standing in the eye was the fact that if you just stood there and watched the clouds, you can see clouds on the west that move to your south, that move to the east. You can literally see the clouds overhead turning around you. And it's a fascinating experience to actually just stand there and watch and realize you're in the middle of this major cataclysm. You know, you're standing in the eye of the storm. It's causing so much damage around you, and yet right where you are, it is completely peaceful. It's a very strange and surreal experience, and one I hope nobody watching this has to go through, because this was scary. This was really scary, just listening to the wind blast the house, and what brief glances we got of damage outside, because all the windows were boarded up save for the patio door, which was half an inch of glass, so nothing would have gone through that anyway. It was a really rough experience, but mostly just letting you guys, I'm just posting this just to let everyone know that I'm okay. Everything here is okay. Collection is intact. House is intact. Most importantly, my family is intact. So everyone made it through okay. I've got a lot of cleaning up to do. The house is still in emergency mode as we have redid everything so we could basically just survive out of the central house, the living room. You can see my collection is still bare from all the stuff I put away just in case. And that goes for a lot of the filming equipment, which is why this is still very poorly lit. So I get to spend the whole weekend cleaning up, getting everything back to normal. So hopefully I will be getting back to random reviews on Monday and get everything back on track and start getting out all the videos that I keep planning on. Things keep coming up, unfortunately. The plan last week was going to be to do a farewell to Xaid, which would have been DX Gashat, and then top it off with a twofer, which would have been a TJ Reviews Gamer Driver and TJ Reviews for the DX Build Driver, which I currently have, which is on queue. Unfortunately, that of course didn't happen. Hopefully I can still churn something up. I don't know, I was like, I either get those DX belt reviews out either really, really early or really, really late. It's one or the other, and I really wanted this to be on the early side. So I will whip together what I can for the build driver, try to get that out as quick as possible. And then I've got a Plastic Addict that's filmed, and I need to edit it. I think the audio might be screwed up, but I might just post it anyway, just because it's been too long, and I don't know when I'm going to get the chance to refilm it. Beyond that, hopefully we get back up and running full speed soon. So yeah, like I said, I got a lot of cleaning up to do this weekend, so I'll end it off here. If you were in Florida, I hope you made it out. I hope everything is okay there, and you know, hopefully life gets back to normal as soon as possible. And for everyone who was sending me well wishes and worrying about me, thank you guys very much. You know, I'm fortunate that, you know, the storm was as gentle on me as it was, because, you know, 6 days without power is nothing compared to what some others in the area had happened to them because of the hurricane, especially farther south where it made landfall, and some areas where the storms were heavier than they were here. So, you know, wish for the best for them, because I'm doing fine. So, so thank you guys for watching. I will be back ASAP, getting the usual reviews out, getting this channel back to where it was. So, I'll see you guys then.